Should you draft Courtland Sutton in fantasy football this year? Well, let's talk about it. I think I might be the only Courtland Sutton fan outside of Denver, but I'm okay with that because I really like this guy. So Sutton's a guy who's been sort of a mediocre receiver stats-wise over his career. But I think, a lot of that can be explained by the fact that he hasn't had good quarterback play. And I think that now that he has, as the quarterback play has improved, Russell Wilson wasn't great, but he still was better than some of the other guys. And now we're at Bo Nix, who's better than Russell Wilson. We started to see that Courtland Sutton can be this elite receiver. I think that, people might not want to admit this, but I think Courtland Sutton's very similar to Terry McLaurin in terms of career, not only career, but also in terms of ability. They're both good at contested catches and whatnot, but I like Sutton. I think Sutton's kind of just a cheaper Terry McLaurin in many ways. A lot of Sutton's value does, of course, ride on Bo Nix. Bo Nix, great rookie year last year. But you can't, it's hard to look at the future when you only have one data point to go off of. So going forward, we don't know, is Bo Nix at, a relative ceiling where he needs to grow a little before he takes the next jump? Is he still, close to the floor and he hasn't even come close to his ceiling? And I think regardless, I think Sutton will have good enough quarterback play to be relevant. But I do think that if Bo Nix has another gear, we could see Sutton jump. Sutton was the wide receiver 15 last year, and he's currently the wide receiver 23 and the 50th overall player. And I think that he could very easily get back to that elite wide receiver 2 status, because you also got to remember that Nix was arguably one of the worst quarterbacks in the league for the first 4 to 5 weeks of the season. And that really dragged down Sutton's value, because we saw after Nix kind of locked in, we saw Sutton go on a stretch from after week 7, he didn't go below 10 points and was top 5 in points per game in the entire league. And I think that if Sutton, that was insane. That might not happen again. But I think if we can just average out, Nix being good from the start of the season, I think Sutton can easily return, that top 15 wide receiver overall, which is an elite wide receiver 2. I also think that, I'm not really scared of anyone else in this receiving room. Bo Nix needs someone to throw the ball to. And Devon Vele is mid. Troy Franklin didn't show a lot last year. The rookie they drafted, whose name is escaping me, he's a rookie. He's probably going to take time to get integrated in the office. And Evan Ingram's going to be around, and I actually like Evan Ingram a lot this year, but I do think that both Sutton and Ingram can exist. And also maybe even a little bit of Marvin Mims, because I do think Bo Nix has that gunslinger mentality, and he could support multiple receivers and a tight end, at least somewhat. So I'm going to give Sutton a B+. He's definitely not a guy I don't think he's going to be wide receiver 1, but he's going to be pretty good, I think, overall.